Just for the record, I want to say that in my humble opinion, Peggy Carter is the most attractive chick in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I just want to make sure that's out there. Agent Carter. So when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2 hit its epic mid-season finale in early December, we learned that we wouldn't be seeing new episodes again until early March. That is 3 months, dude. But to fill up that time, Marvel has given us a small 8-episode long TV series called Agent Carter. It's Peggy Carter, who we all remember as the love interest from Captain America: The First Avenger. So the show follows Peggy Carter after the events of the first Captain America film. Spoiler alert for the film, in the end, Captain America sacrificed himself to save the country and he ended up getting frozen in ice. So now it's 1 year after World War II and everyone is getting back to normal American life. Peggy is now working for the SSR, which is the Strategic Scientific Reserve. This is the organization that will eventually become S.H.I.E.L.D. But Peggy, being a woman in the 1940s, her job is pretty much now to get lunch orders for the guys. So the main conflict in the show is that Howard Stark, Tony Stark's father, who was also in the first Captain America film, has been accused of selling his dangerous inventions to known enemies of the United States. So now the SSR sees him as a fugitive and they want to hunt him down. But Howard knows Peggy from the war, so he asks her to help him clear his name. So now Peggy is a double agent. That's the basic premise. One of the first things that happens is we meet Howard Stark's butler, a guy named Edwin Jarvis. Ah, now we know how Tony Stark's AI got its name. Edwin Jarvis is the guy who's gonna be running around with Peggy on her missions. This guy was actually a really great character, because he starts out as sort of a comic relief sidekick, but as the series goes on, he and Peggy form this really cool bond, and it's not a romance. That's actually one of the great things about it, and it's why the relationship between Peggy and Jarvis is one of the highlights of the show for me. Jarvis is a happily married man, so immediately that cuts off any possibility of a romantic relationship between these characters. Instead, they have this really close friendship that develops layers as the show progresses. The dialogue between them is great, they banter back and forth, and they save each other when they're in danger. That's a real friendship, and it was portrayed very well. So big points to the show for that. When the show was first starting out, the first few episodes kind of felt like they were dragging a little bit. It was still kind of setting up the world of 1940s New York and introducing us to all the characters. I wouldn't say it really picks up until episode 4. Episode 4, we get to see Howard Stark again, and then the show really gets going, and from there on out, it's smooth sailing. As the show goes on, we get to meet some pretty cool people, actually. There's an episode that features the Howling Commandos from the first Captain America film. Dum Dum Dugan is still a hoot. And it's funny because in one episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2, we also get to see Peggy Carter and the Howling Commandos in one flashback scene. So I'm wondering when those take place in context with each other. I liked Lindsay Fonseca as Peggy's roommate Angie. She provided some fun comic relief when it was necessary, but she never overdid it. And she's cute too. I think so. She's pretty cute. And of course, we gotta have her Stan Lee cameo. However, there were a couple of characters that actually made me furious. One of them was Peggy's landlord. She was this really uppity, snotty old woman. The best way I can describe her is that she was like an American Professor Umbridge with a little added misandry and the voice of Meryl Streep in Julie and Julia. That is the perfect description of Peggy's landlord in this show. Every time she spoke, I just wanted to strangle her. The other character I hated was this Russian doctor slash hypnotist. He comes in the second half of the series to help the SSR out with the investigation, and he too has a voice that I despised. When he's hypnotizing someone, he's just like, I want you to focus. Just focus on your pain. It's probably the most annoying voice I've ever heard. I don't know why, I'm pretty sure my hatred for this guy is not that common, but every time he says the word focus, I just want to be like, shut up! And these characters don't ruin the show for me. I guess I just had to address them. They're just small recurring characters. As for the action in the show, it's pretty standard. It's guys throwing down with guys, and there's guns and there's weapons, but there's nothing that really stands out about it. There's nothing that we haven't seen before. I will say though that in the last episode, there's this awesome throwdown with Peggy and another character, and this character is just beating the shit out of Peggy. There were some pretty hard hits in that fight, so that was pretty cool. Other than that, it is all pretty much just standard action. I don't really think this show is about the action though. It's really more about the characters and the story, both of which were pretty good. So I like the show Agent Carter. I'm not sure if Marvel's going to make another season of it. That might mean another 3-month break in the middle of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But if they do choose to go on with it, then I'm on board. They did kind of leave it off with a cliffhanger, so who knows. So Agent Carter, have you watched it? What did you think about it? I really want to know, so whatever you thought, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.